So we wound up doing fishing shows together, and he would come down, and we had the time of our lives. I mean, we caught everything, and Down syndrome is a you might look at it like this bad thing, right? But when it's all said and done, I mean, kindest, happiest, most loving, caring, energetic. I mean, you name it. I mean, the best of everything. I mean, it was honestly like, for me, with Andy, it was like an honor.
This is the Connected by Water podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Friel. Special thanks to our sponsors, Starbright, Seaward Systems, Olakai, and Yak Gear for their great support of our show. This episode was recorded in our Seaward Systems studio, located on the eastern edge of the Florida Everglades. So you got your first time experience of Las Olas and 595 in downtown Fort Lauderdale driving through rush hour? Or?
Not my first experience, but I've learned a lot. I went by the convention center where they have the military and the cruise ships.
Yeah.
And I went to the toll booth, and the guy's like, let me see your ID.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for what? And he's like, and I said, no, I do this all the time. He goes, not anymore. He says, I'll take your ID. I'll go around. You make a UE, and then I'll give it back to you when you come back through. I'm like, wow. You're like holding onto my license. That's serious. And then it was just like 5 inches to the side, the other road. So now I learned a lot. So here I am, and now I know where you are, and now we're going to do this more often.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever since 9/11, that whole port thing went sideways. And I grew up there, like, fishing Hot Water Canal, and we used to, like, sneak in and, you know what I mean, hole in the fence and, like, go in and catch the tarpon in the winter and everything like that.
Oh, wow, I never done that.
There's the power plant, like, all the hot water is running off the power plant, and so when it gets to cold water, all the tarpon come right on the edge of that where that water is running off, and you just like pick them off.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So
Does it still exist?
Yeah, but you can't get to it.
Oh,
it's all like locked down now. So it's all secure and everything, and
okay.
They don't want all that going on now.
No.
Yeah.
No, with cameras, fish jumping in the air. What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So I'm actually. It's funny because I was just down there in downtown yesterday, but it's. Like now I'm like working out of the house now, like, which I love, right? It's really been like the move, I think. But, every now and then we got to get out to do a project and like doing a mural and stuff like that. And now I'm like, driving to downtown. Yeah.
But speaking about the mural, I saw you with the heads.
The MetaQuest.
The MetaQuest.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? That's the name of the brand, or is that?
Yeah. So it's Meta's VR virtual reality mask or headset or whatever. It's called headset, right, John? Like, probably the technical, you don't know. So, all right. So Nova Southeastern University, they commissioned me to do the mural on the side of the art museum in downtown Fort Lauderdale. It's the project we're working on right now.
Okay.
We've been on a kind of a run with cool projects lately, which is awesome. But this one's like, just when you think like you came off the other cool project, I get another one like this, and I'm like, this, like, living the dream, So anyway, they said, do you want to paint this huge mural on the side of the art museum in downtown Fort Lauderdale? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. That's, who would say no to that?
Yeah.
But then there's like, oh, how am I going to get it up there? You know what I mean? Draw this thing, because you go up on a lift and the wall's like 50 feet tall. Yeah.
Man.
And a lot of times you can projector transfer, but then I'm going to need 2 lifts and get a projector up, and like I got to do it at night, and it's like. So the newer thing that a lot of these muralists are doing is the MetaQuest. So I started researching it. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And it worked out, So they didn't come without its hiccups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At first. And there was a little bit of a learning curve and some things to get used to. But yeah, I mean, pretty much you get it with the Contour app and lock it down. And
yeah, my daughter is actually, she's an artist, Emily Miller Arts, So
yeah.
She's painting murals currently, right now as we speak.
Okay.
At these big high ceiling like coffee shops, brand new. It's a chain. And she's like, Dad, I'm on like a 10-foot ladder. I'm like, I'm freaking out. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So, well, first of all, a scissor lift would be great. And then I saw yours, and I showed her a photo of yours, and she's like, you got to figure out what that is, because I have a feeling it's going to be growing, and it's really hard. She had chalk on the end of on a pole, and she was like trying to, make an outline. But she said, get the name of that MetaQuest, and she wants a set. So did you buy it? You rent it?
I bought it. No, I mean, it's like $500.
Okay.
I just expensed it to the job. Right? So it's like, yeah,
Perfect.
So I got that, and then the apps are like, it's $8 for the app that I needed, and that's it.
Perfect.
Who gets the most use out of it is my son, my 12-year-old techie son.
Oh, you play games with it?
He does.
Oh.
I don't play.
So you could do anything with it.
Yeah, well, there's games, there's virtual reality things. Like the things that come stock on are like the little ping pong and which is weird at first, but I'm like, this is actually really cool.
Yeah,
but
it's like old school where we used to play like, what was it called? Wasn't it called like Pong?
Yeah, Pong. Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh my God,
Pong.
Right.
This is a little bit more advanced than that, but
this is 2025 Pong. I'm talking like 1975 Pong.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was the sound of
The best.
Have her call me.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Okay.
I'll tell her everything she needs.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a cool project. We've just got done painting a Panther for Wayne Gretzky. Now we're doing one for Dan Marino, and so some cool stuff going on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is at their homes?
No, like that Panther program for the Florida Panthers.
Oh, okay.
Where they're painting the Panther sculptures.
Uh-huh.
So the Florida Panthers are doing the Panthers on the Prowl program.
Oh.
And Bill Zito asked me to paint a couple of Panthers, and so it's like, yeah, it's cool. So but if they're raising money, they're all getting auctioned off. They're gonna raise money for the American Cancer Society.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So it's got an end benefit to it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, listen, speaking of benefit, we're going to talk a little bit about our Starbright Solutions do-gooder of the week real quick before we get rolling. And this week is Pete Black, owner of the Marker 24 Marina in Merritt Island, Florida. And so a little thing about Pete. Right? So they do a lot of really good things up there with Derek and Corey and all the Project C Safe program. And last year we had the Project C Safe collective event at a different place, but the first year we did it at Marker 24. And, Pete and his wife, they were all in on helping out, and they are continually working with Corey all the time, planting mangroves and dropping oysters and stuff and clams in the water and everything like that. So he's been a huge proponent of conservation up there in the Indian River Lagoon. So it's no doubt about it that Corey called me today, say, can you name Pete as the do-gooder of the week? So Pete Black, thank you very much. You are the Project C Safe do-gooder of the week. And if you want to nominate a do-gooder in your area, just message us on Instagram or Starbright's Conservation Director, Corey Redwine, and your nominee could win a very special Starbright Solutions prize pack worth over $200. So, or you can nominate yourself if you want to, because there's no shame in that game, right? So anyway, Peter Miller. Okay, so how do I introduce you? I think the best way to introduce you is say thank you for coming on my show, because I'm really honored to have you here first and foremost. Emmy nominated television show host, like for the best shows on TV.
Thank you.
Super duper 3-time world champion sailfish, right? And Get Lit, like all the stuff you did back then, like back in the day, like it's like I'm honored to have you on here, man. You're just someone that I've always looked up to. Actually, funny story about that, right? I think it was like 2012. I'm fishing the Jimmy Johnson, and I'm on this Viking, and there was a guy on our boat that probably fished once a year. Like, he's from New York, right? You're familiar with the type, right?
Yeah, I'm from New York.
You're a New Yorker, right? Right. So he probably comes down to South Florida like once a year, fishes with his best friend who owns the boat, right? And then so everyone's got their lines out, their spreads out, and you're next to us, right? And it's known on the boat that it's you, right? So this guy is like, oh, Peter Miller's on that boat, huh? Hey, Peter Miller's on that boat. Hey, maybe we could beat Peter Miller in this thing, like, right? So he's like making a big deal of that, right? So he catches like the first sailfish, right, before you guys got one on, right? There's like early bite, like right off the bat, right? So he's like, you probably have no idea that this is even going on, but he's up there on the bridge going, hey, Peter Miller, I caught a fish before you did. So anyway,
that's gold, baby. I
love
love that.
Back into that.
It's funny because when you compete in these tournaments, as early as we started back in 1990, my buddy we're fishing on a little 23-footer, and then I bought a 25-foot center console, put a tower on. I didn't really know, but we knew that we were going to figure it all out. Yeah, and we just fished a ton, and somehow we just got into it, and we just never stopped. And as a kid, I always wanted to do a fishing show. When I was probably in middle school, I'm like,
Oh, it
yeah.
started that
Oh
early.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was fishing when I was 3 with my dad, and I just everywhere we went, everything we did was fishing. So it's been a long time, and it's great. It's great to be here. Thank you. And I know it's taken a while for me to get here because we've always had so many things going on. The more you've done in the fishing world, all of a sudden, the more you're doing, like it only grows. It
Yeah.
doesn't fade out. So all of our schedules we become like less fishing, more doing things good for the environment. We're helping people, we're teaching, we're doing shows, and maybe we don't fish as much. I'm turning that corner right now. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to start fishing more and working with conservation and teaching kids again and kind of getting back into that and dropping a few things off to the side, like the stuff that's stressful, like the business end of it
Mm-hmm.
can really suck you in and really destroy your vibe for the
100%.
idea of fishing. Like what does it come to? Like I got to negotiate contracts all day? No, I want to start fishing more. So yeah, so that's funny hearing the guy from New York doing that. I fished with a guy named Matt. He owns Sushi Samba,
Okay.
and he's like that.
Yeah.
He's like, Peter, I was there with Biggie and Tupac, and I worked at the Limelight, and and he talks exactly. I almost thought it was that guy for a minute. It's
Yeah.
Matt, but he
This guy
fishes.
was Artie.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's funny. Artie from New York. Well, yeah, I'm glad he caught his fish. Did we catch any?
Yeah, I think you
Okay.
guys did pretty good in the
Okay.
tournament.
Okay.
Out of the 2012, who can remember all the results?
Man.
Actually, I say that, but whenever Art comes on, he's like, I bring that up, and he's like, nope, the sun was like this, the wind was like this, so like remembers every little damn detail.
Quentin, our captain, and Rocher before that. Quentin goes, "Oh, Pete, you remember the World Sailfish Championship back in 2006 in that milky water and 90 feet just to the west of this light? And you remember we got that long bite and the sun was in your eyes and it just started sinking? There was 1 minute to go." I'm like, and I have to say yes because I break his heart when I say no. I'm like, yeah, I do. Yeah, it was like really milky and he flashed sideways. He kind of did. I kind of saw it, but not like he did. He remembers every single bite. Remember 4 went down at the same time?
Yeah.
I remember this one time we had 6 come up and it was like a shooting gallery. We missed like 4, like it was like an amusement park. It was like we missed 1 and the rods were swinging out of the launcher like zing and he's off, zing, I put it down, zing, and it was like 1, 2, 3, and finally the 4th and 5th one we caught and then a 6th one down the Chica Lodge 12-pound test.
Yeah.
Ah, man, some great times, lots of tournaments. And then I know Art Sapp won the Silver Sailfish Derby this past, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, they did.
So Steve Doherty calls me and goes, "Hey, Pete, I'm with the guys right now. How many times did you guys win it?" I said 3.
Mhm.
And I got top angler twice, and Kid got it once. And I told Kid, and he said, "Pete, what's wrong with you? You have like dementia?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We won it 5 times in 8 years. And we stopped fishing in 2011. And they won it 3 times. So Steve, he's like, "Oh, you got us on time with a 3." And I don't have the heart to call him back and say it was 5.
Right. I just told him now.
Well, yeah, there you go. Those guys are great, though. I mean, I look up to those guys. I look up all these guys that fish hard, I think everybody is so good at what they do. And people go, "Oh, you're the best, Peter." No, I'm not. I'm far from the best. I just do it a lot. I like to do it. I like to think I'm pretty good at it, but I'm far from the best, at anything. But I just try hard.
I'm always drawing parallels between art and fishing, right? Because that's kind of how I connect things in my head. Yeah, and you're right, but the bottom line is when you start talking about the names you're talking about, that's just the good company you want to be in, right? We've been blessed on this show to really have the best of the best here. We talk about John Louis and Art all the time, and Ray Rocher's been on the show. We've had Carl Anderson's like a regular guest on the show. And these guys are all IGFA Hall of Fame members, and it's just really been a blessing to have them all and just to be able to just not really just pick their brains, because I don't need to pick their brains because I'm never going to fish on the level that you guys are fishing on because I'm an artist first, right? So I really don't have the desire to be the world's best tournament fisherman. I don't, because that's not what I do. Like, I fish because I love fishing as, I don't want to say a hobby, but just a way of life. You know what I mean? I'm not, I used to competitively tournament fish. I don't anymore, because I stepped off that road and I made a decision. I'd be like, I'm just artist full time. Mm-hmm. I fish when I can, right? But it's so great to hear the stories from these guys and just to hear especially when I get Art and Skip Dana in at the same time and they're just talking and I'll just sit back and listen, and it's just wonderful for me because they do my job for me, number one. But you get to hear the great stories and you're like, yeah, well, I remember that when we were in that tournament and we're down by 2 sailfish and we hit that quad. I'm like, okay, why did you hit that quad? What did you do? Because you keep doing it time and time and time again in the 11th hour of a tournament to take the victory. And then he's like, well, I remembered in this particular case that back in that tournament 7 years ago when the wind kicked up and the wind switched in this way, I knew to pick up all the lines and run, and he did. He picked up all the lines with an hour to go and ran to this one spot, and they hit a quad and won this tournament. I can't remember what tournament it was. If I bring it up to him, he'll tell you exactly what tournament it was.
It's incredible how these memories. I can remember when you start talking about those things. I recall 7 to 15 minutes left in the tournament, and they're like, "All right, guys, fish fast. We're almost down, third day, and we're right there." Mm-hmm. And Quentin will say, pick them up, guys. Just please, just believe me, just pick them up. And he didn't see anything, but he just had a feeling we had to get to different water. And we raced over there. We practically ran over a free jumper, put him out, and got a quad. And it was like literally with like 2 minutes to go. And we've done that countless numbers of times. But, when that tide switches, when that little trickle of turtle grass starts coming in, and you follow that bait on that line all the way. And back in the day, it was like, oh, we caught him at 120. We're going to catch him at 120. No, the tide's pushing that line out to 220. Mm-hmm. And then it's here. Oh, let's go fish in that purple water. We're going to get him. It's 5 knots of current. They don't want to be in that. They want to fight against 2 knots of current. So now we're fishing the dirty green water, and that's where they're at, because they can rest a little bit while they're feeding as they're coming against the current, swimming against it. And there's so many little subtleties, and then the free jumpers and having the center consoles with 10 sets of eyes looking for everything. If you're not looking, if you're in a sport fish and everyone goes in the salon on the move, forget it. I mean, the captain can just do so much. You need someone going, I saw 2 flyers pop up over there. You know what that means? That means the sailfish is there, because the sailfish can't catch flying fish. So they scare too, and they pop and just coast. You see a big spray of flying fish. It's probably kings, mahi, something else, tunas. But a little pop of 1 or 2 flyers, we will race south of that, and here he comes, blacked out, ready to eat.
That's good stuff. Yeah, and you're right. That's a really good point about everyone going in the salon. You need eyes like a sonar when you're running like that, especially the clock's ticking.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We're just talking about offshore fishing and everything, but you had your show Bass to Billfish for years, which I freaking loved. And I say all the time, I mean, with South Florida especially, that's really what makes us unique. You can catch a sail, you can catch a mahi, and you go inside and you can catch a tarpon and a snook and a bass like all in the same day. Like probably pretty easily if you really made a point to do it. So, take me through like the genesis of that one, like that thought process with the Bass to Billfish idea.
Yeah,
like I know you don't want to talk about the old show necessarily.
No. I love.
But I always loved that show.
It's funny because I have moments where I think, you know what, I want to bring that idea back. Whether it's called this or that. Right now it's Uncharted Waters, but back then it was Bass to Billfish. And I remember, I was with Bass Pro for 26 years or so, and I approached them, and I had done a ton of stuff with them, and they said, Bass to Billfish, what? I said, because I want to be able to sell like a little bobber for 50 cents, and I want to be able to sell your electric reel for deep dropping for swordfish, because that's what I do. I mean, when I'm fishing sailfish tournaments, the first thing I do is I get home, I sleep in the next day, and then I'll take my bike, and I'll ride over and catch peacocks and largemouth. With my kids. They'll be on scooters or bike, whatever it was. And that was my relaxation after like an intense billfish tournament. But then I'm intense trying to catch bass and peacock to the point where my glasses are fogging up if I see one. And but yeah, so I knew I wanted to do a show. Anytime we had a cameraman in a tournament that would be walking down the docks, said, what boat can I go on? Nobody wanted them because they thought they had all the secrets and they don't want to give them away. So I would say, hey, come with us. And I would get mic'd up back in early 2000, and I would be and the guys would be like, hey, you're pretty good at this. I'm like, I love doing it. I love talking about it, and I'm not shy, and we're not reinventing fishing, and
right.
Nobody gonna like take exactly what we do and do what we're doing. We had a unique team. So I just started putting together proposals, and I started looking at everything like I always had, and I started, going around and talking to different people. Yellowfin boats. I remember waiting 3 days at the boat show trying to talk to, due to our fishing acumen and with the Get Lit and winning all these tournaments and doing really well and doing the TV stuff, it allowed me to go to people I didn't know, but that knew me through that, like Mercury, Yellowfin, Yeti, and all these different brands. And then what was really the linchpin and the good thing that happened was I met with Florida Tourism.
Mm-hmm.
So when I met with them, they thought like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you took people who never caught fish on your show? And I said, okay. I said, that's going to be hard because, as a tournament angler, you really want people that know what they're doing because that's your level where you're at.
Yeah.
And when they said that, I was like, okay. And I wasn't fully in on it. And then all of a sudden I was like, and then they could maybe they submit YouTube videos and get selected. So now I was kind of doing social media back in 2007, came up with a name, came up with a website, everything that went along with it. And Florida Tourism said if Bass Pro gets involved, we want in. And Bass Pro said if Florida Tourism gets in, we want in.
Oh.
So they both jumped in, and then and then all of a sudden they all started coming in, and it was remarkable. And I remember my ex-wife said to me, she goes, Peter, you're never going to make any money doing this, but if you love it and you love filming, which I do, I love filming, I love the editing, I love the music, I love the moments, the funniness, the eating, the drinking.
I love it all too. I love doing that too. Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
So I said, she said, I won't make any money. I said, well, thank you for the challenge. Now I'm guaranteed that I will because I won't stop until I do.
Right.
And here we are in 2026, and I'm on my, I'm hosting 5 different television shows right now.
King of the Hill.
Well, I mean, I could easily fall down that hill, but I'm trying.
I think you're doing all right there.
I appreciate it. So that's how it started, and I got some people down there, and I'll never forget my first shoot. A front's coming through. I have a husband and wife coming from Missouri that have never fished, and they got there late, and I got my yellowfin, and I got my mercury, and I got my Ray Marine in them, and they get to the house, and she's like, where do I change? I'm like, in the garage, so she changes, puts on like tennis skirt, and hooped earrings, and this tank top, and I'm like, what are you, and tons of makeup. I go, oh, I didn't expect this, but I'm like, anyway, let's go, because it was getting late, and a front was coming, and it was about to blow like 35.
Right.
And I'm thinking, if we could just get out there, I know we can get them. And we're going by, and a seaplane lands in front of us. And I'm like, how picturesque is this? He lands in Stiltsville and goes in front of us, and the guys are filming it and taking pictures of it. And we get out there, and I'm talking to them like, well, we're going to do some kite fishing. We're going to do this. I'm trying to be my host on my first show. And I'm looking, and I just look out there, and I see free jumpers. Like, literally, it was like incredible. It was,
right off Stiltsville.
It was biblical proportions. We were in probably 40 feet, and they were out in 90. And I go, hold on, guys, there's a free jumper. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We get out there, put the kites out, and immediately we're hooked up. 1, 2, and then I hired a helicopter. Cameraman's in there, $1,000 for 1 hour. It was killing me. Like, wow, like I have this money, right? Flies out, she's hooked up. I'm like, oh my God, we have helicopter footage on my first show of a sailfish jumping and this and that. Long story short, my cameraman goes, I didn't see a sailfish. I'm like, okay, so we didn't get that. He never got that. So we missed. He was hanging for his life out the side. The guy was like hanging bank turns. He's never been in a helicopter.
Sean over there laughing.
I know, and I'm like, oh, you did? What do you mean? He jumped like 50 times. He's like, oh, I didn't see it. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh,
okay. At least somebody saw it. So we have the jump shots. We wind up getting the fish. We get to the boat, and the other fish happened to be like a 35-pound mahi. So it goes under the boat. The husband's fighting it, and for some reason his hand is turning in a square as opposed to circles. People do that when they try fish, and he's doing the square. I'm like, try to make a circle instead of a square, and he's turning. Fish goes under the boat, and it's out the other side, jumping out the back. I'm like, and I didn't want to be a jerk, so I'm like, okay, well, why don't you give me the rattle? Let me help you trim up the motors. And he's like, and he fights me for it. I'm like, no, just get real quick. So I rip it out of his hands, right? Because it's a big one, and I go running down. Motors are trimmed up. I dive on my stomach, go under all 3 motors, come out the other side, come back around, give him the rod. I go, okay, go for it. And he's like, what just happened? I'm like, hey, you're good. He reels it in. We open the coffin box for the gaff shot, and we're like, back up, we're going to grab it. We open the coffin box, and it hits him in the back of the legs, and he falls in, collapses, and the coffin box shuts on him.
No.
Like, he's gone. The rod's on the ground. The fish is on the gaff, and I'm like, what? And she's laughing, and it turned out to be like a fantastic show. And then we went straight to the Everglades, caught bass on a bass
with
boat.
The same guests.
The same guests,
okay.
And on another yellowfin, a smaller yellowfin. And then that night, I took them to a Miami Heat game. And then we went to the Captain's Tavern and ate our mahi, and we cooked it. And everyone was like, wow, you guys did a lot on that show. Why do you do so much? Everybody else just sits there and, you catch that fish, and there it is. I'm like, I don't know. That's the way we want it. We want it fast. We want it moving. We want it fun. People that never did it and give them a chance. And then it just went from there.
after seeing the dashingly good-looking Peter Miller save the fish in such a manner, did she want to leave her husband for you? I mean, that was like,
Yeah,
I mean, that had to have been impressive
there
there.
was a moment. No, I don't care. We did lock eyes. I saw her hoops, and she looked at my Ray-Ban or whatever. No, it was fun. It was great. She was attractive.
Yeah,
and I'm still friends with them to this day. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's been great. I mean, so many shows, 100 of those shows. We're going into like the high 50s of Uncharted Waters.
Yeah.
And
what are you, season 8?
Yeah, 9.
9? You just finished up at season 8.
Yeah, it's about to start airing.
Yeah.
It's April 2026 on Discovery Channel.
Okay.
Discovery Go, Discovery Plus.
What a great show that is, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
really.
It's a little different, and I wanted to try something different, but I tell you, like you, I love that bass to billfish format.
Yeah.
I love like seeing people catch their first fish. And sometimes you think like you've got to catch 50 sailfish. It's just that one.
Yeah.
One fish makes that difference, Families getting together. I had a military guy. He's like, I got reunited with my dad because I was on TV and he saw me. I hadn't talked to him in 25 years.
Wow.
I saw him on TV.
Wow.
Yeah. Military guy.
Wow. You talking about the one fish. Like it's funny, Charlie Levine?
Yeah.
Like good friend of mine, right?
Yeah.
So I was talking to him this morning. He was actually, we were doing an interview for something for CCA. Mm-hmm. And then, we went fishing with my buddy Elmer down there in Chokoloskee, Everglade City. And Elmer's amazing. You should meet him. Like you'd really like the guy a lot. And he's like, well, tell me about that day you and Elmer went out and you caught like 42 tarpon in one day. I'm like, yeah, we did. We caught like 42 tarpon and a dozen snook, right? With Elmer knows Chokoloskee, like the water and the structure underneath there better than I know every inch of my backyard.
Wow.
Right? Like really, it just doesn't need anything. He keeps everything on the laptop and very scientific about the whole thing. So he calls me up, like, he's like, hey, in 2 days, can you go? Like, it's going to be on. I'm like, yeah. All right, let's go. So
the moon, the tide.
We did just all, he was looking at his history and everything like that. And so we went out, we take the John boat, not the beaver tail, because he wants to get like in all the honey pots back there. So we're like, going underneath and like getting real low, like going through all the tunnels and everything like that. And that's how we really got him. So, but mostly poons, right?
Yeah.
So 42 of them, like all day long. We're just,
wow.
And both of these fly and conventional and whatever. So we're having a good time, And then I had lost this 10-pounder, and for that day, it would have been the biggest tarpon we got because they're all like little poons we're catching, And I was pretty upset about it. And Elmer's like, Lloyd Rubel was telling me this was one time, like, you got to show the tarpon who's boss, like, especially when they're at the boat. Like, I get the whole bow to the king thing, but when they're at the boat, that's when you got to show them who's boss. I'm like, all right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So anyway, we're fishing for like another hour and we're kind of getting towards the end of the day. And I'm like on an 8-pound test on a bass rod and hooking to this 45-pound tarpon. Not losing this fish. No way I'm losing this fish. I'm getting this fish in the boat. Just pulling the John boat like all around. I catch the fish.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. Amazing catch. And then it's about that one fish, just like you're saying, right? So Elmer's like, all right, cool. Let's go. Let's keep fishing. I'm like, I'm done. Like that was the fish that I was after today, and we're done, and that's it. And it's like the one fish, even though we caught 42.
Not many people can say that.
Yeah,
that can stop at that moment when that, and for you to be able to do that, it shows a maturity level far above most fishermen.
Well, thank you, sir.
Including myself. I'm like, we will never stop.
Yeah. Well, I was like, well, what am I going to do? Like, keep catching the little ones. Like that 45-pounder. It's like it was kind of towards the end of the day. You know what I mean? I was like, I think I'm good. I'll just watch you fish.
That's awesome. I love stories like that, and the fact that you're able to do that. And some captains, they're like wanting to go in, but it sounds like he was having the best day ever with you, and Elmer, and why would he stop?
Right.
You're throwing up some numbers there that most people will never see in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And you're just banging them out. And then you get your biggest one of the day. And like when I go out with the captains, they know that I'm going to want to go till dark because I have kids from Make-A-Wish. I had the kid Andy with Down syndrome. And I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? He goes, I want to fish till dark. I want to catch everything possible. So I look at the guides and they look at me. I'm like, you heard them.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. So when they know I'm coming, they're like, everybody get ready. Better bring dinner on the boat because Peter's coming. And I'm like, guys, these are my guys, So a story like yours, I shoot a show in Cape Cod this year. It was tough conditions, tough everything. TJ Ott was out there. I'm talking all the guys from Wicked Tuna. I'm calling them like, hey, .com, what's going on? What do you get? Oh, we had a bite here. Long story short, we get this fish, and it was like a 900-pounder, and I had just pinched some nerves in my neck, and my hand was jacked because of the nerves and this and that. So I was in the chair, and the guy's got a fighting chair in the boat. My last year, I got 800-plus pounder on stand-up, and I love that. I love being, like, connected like that and just, cranking on it. And so this one was in the chair, and I caught it, and I was like, well, we're not going to do better than 900 pounds.
Right.
And amongst all these boats, that's the golden bite. And, now we're going to sit here.
All stand-up.
Well, this one was sitting, but the 1 year before was 800 on stand-up. And I had it at the boat on the leader, but, for camera, you want to see it. So you wind up, like, fighting it. I want to get a measurement on it and try to get the numbers on it. So we didn't keep that one or this one, but the captain said, Peter, it's over 110 inches. It's a moose, and it was calm.
Yeah, Volkswagen.
Your own, yeah, and we filmed it all. It was incredible. And I looked up at him, and it was noon. And I'm thinking, we're never going to, I go, hey, I said, I'm going to do a closing. I always like to do a closing in case we don't catch anything with the same light. I go, hey, I want to thank you so much for this. This is a fish of a lifetime. And I said, that's it. I said, let's turn this baby around. We'll head in, get something to eat. And they're like, all right, sounds good. And we finish. And the guy goes, Peter, you're not serious, are you? Cameras are off. I go, yeah, I was. He goes, would you mind if we stayed out? I never have captains do that. He goes, would you mind if we stayed? And because it's the last day of the year, we're going to fish.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And we're putting the boat in dry dock for the winter. I go, okay. 600-pounder comes up, another 700-pounder. I mean, I'm in the chair. I mean, I couldn't move for like 5 days.
Oh, I bet.
I feel like I got in a car accident. I was on the plane like, oh my, I can't move. Anyway, that's funny how the captain wanted to stay and I wanted to quit. It was the first time.
That was this past season?
It was just like a month ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, a month and a half ago maybe. And so it's funny how you wanted to go in and I wanted to go in and the captain's like, no, we're going to keep going. But so I guess I'm mature in a sense. I'm not as mature as you though.
You know Andy Moyes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Andy's always trying to get me to go up to Nova Scotia with him every year. And then for one reason or another, I have some excuse why I can't make it. I'm such an idiot. But I think this year might be the year, John, that I take Andy up on his offer. So
lobster, you're going to be, is that when you're eating lobster for lunch? Is that one of those trips or is that a different trip?
I don't know. It's for Big Bluefin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what he's got in the store.
They always have lobster up there, lobster rolls, lobster sandwich, lobster this. It's like Forrest Gump. It's like shrimp gumbo, shrimp fricassee. But, yeah, that's you got to give it a shot. Don't overlook Montauk and don't overlook New Jersey and don't overlook Cape Cod because they are like the bluefin population is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
New Jersey last year, they were talking about seeing them from the shore.
Oh, yeah. They're catching off the Empire State Building in the Hudson River. 600, 800 pounders.
What?
Yeah, they're following the bait. They're following the bunker and they don't know.
Coming into the harbor?
Yeah. Yeah. They had guys holding tunas, the Delphs. Yeah. They were holding tunas with the Statue of Liberty behind them with New York City. I mean, the coolest, the whales along the beach and the stripers and the bunker and then the tunas are busting. And these guys are used to it. I'm like, what was that? He's like, oh, it's a giant tuna. I'm like, he's like, don't cast over there. You'll hook them and you'll ruin everything. You'll ruin all our line. I'm like, okay. I'm like, where are we going? He's like 10 miles offshore so we can just solidify where we're at. 10 miles. I look, I'm talking to the captain. I see a little splash next to the boat. I'm like, what was that? He goes, probably a tuna. And I was like, what? And then it was
singing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 800-pounder. Bit 5 seconds later.
800 pounds.
Yeah. He's like, oh, so this is a real one. This is a real one. I'm like, how big is it? He's like, that's like 109 inches. Measured it, 78 around or something. Like ridiculous.
That's a massive fish.
Yeah.
That's
incredible.
Insane.
And the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a massive fish. One fish I've never caught? Striped bass. I've never caught a striper.
People love them,
right?
But honestly, I think for us, I don't want to diss the striped bass because it's a really big deal for a lot of people. But they don't jump. They're a little, they're powerful, but they don't really show themselves very well. Snook's going to come up, gills raking, tarpon's coming up. We love fish. We love fish that are coming up.
Yeah.
Or giants that are going to come to the boat. Something about the striped bass doesn't really get me lit up. It's fun. I don't know. Maybe when you catch the giants, those guys that catch the giants, it's a big deal for them, and it's a whole culture. Listen, you better put that fish back properly.
Right.
Always support it like a snook, but even more. and you have your thumb in their mouth, don't bend their gill at all when you're holding them. Like, don't tweak their head a little bit so a little bit of their gill shows. I mean, it's got to be flat like a board. And when you release it, you don't throw it over. You really lay it down in there.
Yeah, there's a whole culture to that.
Oh,
thing, isn't
yeah,
there?
yeah.
Yeah, Joe Gugino is like, I'm supposed to go, I think, May or June.
Is
I
he
think,
Italian?
Hey, Joe Gugino from Boston. He's got his boat. He tells me, he's like, just come in. We're supposed to go with him and Adrian, right? Adrian and I are supposed to fly up and go. We were going to go in September, but he's like, no, it's not going to be good. So we're like, okay. And then he's like, well, come in like May or June. So we're going to go in like May or June and fish for stripers. We're just going to go fly in, fish for a day, probably fly back home. Right, so we'll see. Maybe I can get my striper this year.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun when they're in the bait, and you know, you can trick them into certain things. You know, it's a lot of fun. And the whales. I mean, the whales are blowing up bunker all over the place. The stripers are there. The tunas are there. Jersey, Montauk, Cape Cod. It's pretty spectacular.
You get up there a lot?
No, I just started going. I used to go as a kid.
Yeah.
Jersey. My family had a summer house there, and then Cape Cod. We used to go to Cape Cod and rent the house on a lake when I was a little kid, and we catch trout, and then we go out for stripers on a party boat. You know, I grew up going on head boats. My dad was blue collar, and you know, when we went somewhere, it was like head boat. And, you know, I would bring my own rod. I'd go to the bait store, buy like a bag of, you know, bunker or whatever. I cut it up myself, and that's how it all went down. But yeah, those were the spots.
Yeah, I grew up going to the head boats too, like the Fish City Pride and Helen S up here.
Okay.
Yeah, but how long have you been? When did you move here?
I moved here in '86 to go to UM and graduated in '90. But I was vacationing here when I was 10.
Okay.
And we finally put it together and went out on the therapy. A charter boat, and it was like a join, like 3 family members from another family and us. It was like, you know, a group. So it was them 3 and us 3, or us 2, I guess. And we went out and we paid, you know, half price. So we split the cost of the charter.
Yeah.
And that was my first sailfish. We caught 2 sailfish, double header that day. And I was Doris M. Barnes was the photographer for the Met, and she's standing there. What's your name? I'm like, Peter Miller. How old are you? I'm like 10. She's like, oh, wow, you caught a sailfish. Tell me about it. She wrote an article. I got the thing from the Met. I got a great picture. Like,
really that started your addiction right there.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Yeah. That was the biggest. See, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to kind of like investigate there. I'm like, what started all this with you?
Yeah.
You know, like, where did you really because you mentioned it, you teased it a little earlier, like, oh, I've always wanted to do a fishing show when I was a kid. But I'm like, you just totally kind of told me the moment there.
Yeah.
And so what happened after that? Like, you got your sailfish, you got your
and then a hammerhead shark. I got the hammerhead shark, which was a small hammerhead, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, to this day, I still think they're incredible, you know, looking, and caught the hammer. But prior to that, you know,
it's the coolest fish, I think.
I think it's so cool the way especially the giant ones, you know, and you see them, you know, unfortunately every now and then eating the tarpon, you know. But I'll never forget seeing, you know, I was with Mikey, and he was filming, and I have one on, and he goes, oh, look, the fish is still in the school. And I'm looking, I'm like, there's no way that fish is still in school. I've been fighting it for 40 minutes, and it was a 120, 30 pounder. And then I just see this dorsal, you know, like one of the giant dorsal ones. I can't remember the name, a greater hammerhead or
yeah, it's uncanny though, that tall, pointy.
It's like 5 feet in the air, and his tail's wagging like way behind him. And I'm looking, going, what is? And it was like 1,000-pounder kind of thing right off Key Biscayne. Kids were lobstering like along the wall there, and I'm watching this tarpon, like 3 bites, and from the hammerhead it's gone. But that hammerhead is amazing. But you know, my dad took me freshwater fishing for brim, catfish, carp, bass, and then my friends and I played baseball together, and everything we did was fishing. So we're 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fly fishing in the Catskills by ourselves at midnight, tying flies in a raging river with nothing safety wise, just with a pen light in our mouths, a million bugs in your face.
You did as a kid compared to
I don't know
now.
Yeah, I don't know how we survived any of it. Slipping down the rocks, trying to get up to the car, and we hear the car beep, and nobody knew where anybody was, and we get up there and we go back to the camper, and then the watchdog in this trailer park we're staying at like attacks my buddy. There's 2 of us, and we're walking towards this attack.
Come on.
We don't know. He's just a watchdog for this, you know, the trailer park. And we're going to get some like Slim Jims or something. We're starving. And the dog looks at us, and his tail goes between his legs, and he stares at us. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I got a 50% chance here. And I look at my buddy, and I said, he goes, run. And we both start running. I'm running full speed, barefoot down a dirt path at night back to our trailer. And I thought to myself, well, if we're both running next to each other, this 50% thing isn't looking so good. So I peeled off hard to the right. I'm just thinking, save yourself. What am I going to do?
Right.
So I take off and I go to the right and I take off and I look and the dog continues to chase him. And I'm like behind this guy's trailer with his windows open, screen at night. And I'm huffing and puffing. And he thinks it's like some kind of like pervert or burglar, and I'm like, oh, outside his window. And I'm like wheezing. And the dog, my friend falls and the dog is over him and he's just barking in his face, like scaring him. And the father comes out.
Freaky is that, though?
And the father comes out with a shovel ready to like kill. It didn't. Everything was okay.
Yeah.
But it was a scary moment. So the fishing thing started 3 years old, sitting on a tackle box in the tall grass with spurs stuck to my sneakers with my dad in New York, ponds, reservoirs, little lakes, and that's where it all started. Then it went to like bluefish, trolling. We had our own little boat when I got a little older, and then striped bass, and then it grew from there, like toe tog, blackfish, toggin, fluke flounder, sea bass, all that stuff, and porgies and Cape Cod, and all that stuff. But yeah, the sailfish was like a pivotal moment. The hammerhead at 10, sailfish 10. That's when it all kind of kicked in. Took a little break, and then college. I was obsessed with it. And Kit Toomey is in my class. I don't know him. He's sitting behind me. And he's like, oh, you fish? I see you got a fishing shirt. I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, maybe one day we'll fish together. I said, okay. And that's how we started fishing. And then we had another friend that had a boat. And I remember he said, we're going to go on my grandfather's boat. I'd never been on a nice boat, so I don't know anything of what we're going on. I just knew that we had to get there. We get to the spot. And he says to the guard at the gate, he goes, James L. Knight. And I'm like, that name sounds familiar. So we drive in and we park. And there's a 23 Mako with nothing on it. And then there's like a 60-something like ocean yacht back in the day.
Yeah.
With a captain and a mate and teak decks. And I go, hey, Kit, how's it going? You guys are a little late, huh? And I look at the one boat and I'm like, oh, my God, we're going on a sport fish.
Nice.
He's like, boys, we got beers over here and the ice machine's there. We got sandwiches and this and that. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And we wound up catching mahi that day. We found a pallet and got some mahi.
Yeah, at that point, you're like, yeah, you're my friend.
Yeah. I was like, this is the best day ever.
Yeah.
So, it's been so like, we could talk about fishing stories ad nauseum until midnight, but.
You know what I want to talk about, though, really, is you kind of alluded to earlier, and it really is kind of like the start of a bigger topic. You mentioned like the Make-A-Wish stuff, right? And, on the show and even just Connected by Water in general, we're big proponents of giving back, whether it be for people, for conservation and all that. And I love hearing the stories because I think the more you talk about it, the more it inspires other people to do the same.
Yeah.
And, and we really, there's a bunch of different nuances of the phrase Connected by Water. It's why we named our whole company this and the show and everything, because we really felt deeply about it. So at this stage in your career, right? Benevolence and all that and conservation is really important, I think.
I agree.
Right? And I think that's kind of where we're at now too, like to give meaning to the whole endeavor, right? Because it's great, I think, to just, when you're younger, to try to make your way and achieve things and all that. And it's really, really cool to do. And it's very rewarding. But at a certain point, you start reflecting on everything and you want to give legacy and purpose, right? And I know that's how you're kind of wired as well. So take me through some of the things, how you got started with the Make-A-Wish, and then now what you're doing a lot with the conservation world.
Okay. Doing the show and seeing the folks that would apply to be on the show, if they had fun sending in these videos and they'd never fished, mother and son, I brought them in and they'd never hung out together like this. And we caught swordfish and we caught sailfish and we caught mahi and we caught sharks, and they had literally the time of their life. So I started seeing that progression. But like you said, again, back to what you said, when you're younger, you're like, I got to get mine, So I'm like, I got to do a fishing show. I want to be the best. And then you realize as you get older, that was great. And you did it. But now it's time to switch gears and rewind and start going back to what really matters, and that's giving back.
Yeah.
And
like in a lot of ways, and just to cut in on it, a lot of ways, I think when you do achieve these things, that before you achieve them, you think that they're going to be this wonderful, right? And they are wonderful things to have on, in your trophy case, if you will, or whatnot. But I think eventually you kind of look at that as sometimes that could be fleeting,
Definitely.
And the things that you're talking about now are the things that remain with you.
Yeah, and it's you bring up a really good point, because one of the interviews or one of the videos I got was with a boy with Down syndrome, and his mother's friend, who everybody thought was his mother, kind of was his buddy and caretaker and fishing partner for the two of them. And the mother would drop Andy with her, and they fished all the time together, and he would stay with her like the entire summer. So we wound up doing fishing shows together, and he would come down, and we had the time of our lives. I mean, we caught everything. And Down syndrome is a you might look at it like it's this bad thing, right? But when it's all said and done, I mean, kindest, happiest, most loving, caring, energetic, I mean, you name it. I mean, the best of everything. I mean, it was honestly, like, for me with Andy, it was like an honor.
Mm-hmm.
And man, he died. He was I think he was like 37.
You're good, brother.
Anyway,
we listen. We do this on the show, okay? This is partly what Connected by Water is, right? We do this on the show. This is like we bring our hearts to the table,
yeah,
okay? And we're not afraid to do that.
yeah.
And it's happened once or twice here, so this just to me though shows the power behind it, okay? Like, what is Connected by Water? Like, what makes you wave to someone else when you're passing on a boat, but you don't do it in a car?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What the power that water brings to you, the being on the water and celebrating and being connected, like the primal nature of the whole thing. You know what I mean? It brings mankind together in a way that's deeper and more profound. You know what I mean? We experience like that, and you can learn a lot about people, for better or for worse.
Yeah. No, I'm totally I'm with you, as you can tell. I'm 1,000%. And it's incredible what we think is needed to make someone's day special is really minimal for what we want to give.
Yeah,
I mean, I will prep for 7 days to take a person out for a day.
Yeah,
to make a dream come true, and we see how simple it can be. It could be anything, and it's the cheering, it's the hugging, it's the excitement, and it's like every time. So, with Andy, we did 6 shows together probably, and then I got asked to host the Special Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
500 people, 1,000 people gala, tuxedo up at the podium, and I invited Andy and flew him in, put him in the hotel, and had him come up on stage, and he was awesome. And then with Make-A-Wish, I started getting calls from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they said this is what they want to do. They have one wish. They want to fish with you on your show. And I said, okay. So I did about 6 of those, and each one was unique. A lot of people think that Make-A-Wish is like a terminal issue, but it's not necessarily that. You can...
It's a life-affecting issue.
Exactly.
So it'll affect you for the rest of your life.
Yep. And I'm still friends with all of them, and now they're like adults, and even the parents. And then I had another one, this man, Aaron, that used to follow me, and his kids and his wife. And when he went to Disney, he went to Key West, and then he came to fish with me. And, it's been about 7 of those. And then I donated a lot of trips to charities to raise money for After School All-Stars, for Rihanna's charity, which was the Clara Lionel Foundation. Basically just helping kids all over, and it was incredible the amount of money you can raise at these events, and then they would double down on you. Tom Arnold I'm at Schwarzenegger's house, multiple times, and, they had me on a sign-up sheet, a silent auction, and they were like, you know what, where's Peter Miller? And I'm like, at Schwarzenegger's house. I'm in the bathroom. It's midnight. And we've been, they had a tequila sponsor there, and I'm like, huh. And I'm washing my hands, and I'm like, I come out, my hands, there's no towels left because the end of the night, and there's still, I got Schwarzenegger, I got Stallone, Jason Statham, and they're all sitting like in a row. It's in a cowboy thing. They're all wearing cowboy hats, and they're like, where's Peter? I'm like, I'm right here. And everyone looks back at me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm buzzed, and I'm like, I didn't, I wasn't driving or anything. So it was my night to celebrate. And I run up. They're like, Peter, he's a 3-time World Surface champion, Master Billfish. Da, 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 da. And anyway, long story short, I get one for like 30,000. And they go, Peter, will you do 2? And I looked away like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna like do all this, juggle this. He goes, we got another 30,000. Peter, you're the best. They're hugging me and stuff. And I'm like, what just happened? Anyway, so 60,000 there. And then I did something with CC Sabati with the Yankees for his charity, the Pitch-In Foundation.
Right.
Sitting there with all the Yankees, black tie event. And it's like, fish with Peter and CC. This guy's like, and we'll fly you in my private jet, yells from the audience.
No.
I'm like, what? And all right, we got 70,000. Let's do 2. 140,000, the biggest one of the whole night out of everything that they had at this event. Like artists with like insane works of art.
Right.
But this was a big one. And everywhere I've gone, I've done that. And I donated and I went to these charities. And people are doing really good things, you know. Just came back from Jamaica, to raise, to help raise money. We're doing Jam for Jamaica with a Marley family. And they brought me down.
Oh,
there.
that's cool.
Yeah, and I was helping. It would be his 81st birthday this February.
Wow. 81.
And they're doing a song kind of like We Are the World, but it's one of his songs. And they're going to release it. And they have like 50 artists that came in. So they flew me in and I met with some of the artists.
When are they doing this?
They already recorded it. And it's
really?
Be coming in February. And they're going to play it at the Grammys. And they're going to raise
cool
money. And at the Super Bowl. And a whole host of things. So I got to hang out with the guys in their pangas that were in the bushes 10 feet up in the mangroves. So I went with them. I went to a school, visited with them, and just shining light on it. And, making some great connections and trying to help with however I could. So it's everything from like, charities to Make-A-Wish to any helping, whatever, you could just do so much, you get a little spread thin at times, but I try to say yes to everything. And then every now and then I'm like, oh my God, I haven't slept in 7 days. I got to get some sleep,
the whole thing, you run the risk of, over promising and under delivering, I think and that's the bad part, right? Like, I don't think necessarily it's the fact of doing it and helping out and everything, because that's the fulfilling part. Right. But if you say yes to too many people and you're not able to fulfill the obligation, then that's worse than saying no in the first place.
You know what I want to say?
That's what I've learned.
Yeah. And you're covering, you're covering all the bases with your art and with the environment and doing a little fishing in your children, hockey and everything you're doing. You stay like incredibly busy. I think we all work harder and harder as we're getting older in this industry.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's supposed to not be that way, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I thought.
Up.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, I work harder now. Right. I got 5 jobs. Like, remember in Living Color, like the Jamaican family's like, how many jobs you got? It's like 12. That's child's play. You need at least 13. He's like, I'm flying the plane. I'm doing this. But when it comes to like all this stuff, I'm happy to say that I got the call from Derek Redwine each year to do this event coming up in March or April in Cocoa up their way.
Oh, he's going to kill me. I think it's in April.
It's in April.
It's in April.
And I tell them every year, I said, man, I do the Sport Fishing Championship, and they have me like, I fly every week for this. And I called him. I said, I got to get the schedule. And Derek's like, come on, man, Peter, we got to go. And I'm like, Derek, I have to do this thing. I'm one of the hosts for this show.
Right.
And it's a big tournament. Anyway. And I got the word that I'm finally going to be able to go. So I'm excited.
You're coming this year.
Yes. Oh. I'm excited to help and learn and
awesome is that?
Spread the word and do whatever I can.
Oh,
to make
I'm so
it
excited.
Me too. I just learned it
Peter,
yesterday.
That's great.
I know. I'm psyched. I felt, and you feel like a jerk because you don't want to be like, oh, Derek, guys, I'm sorry, I can't,
right.
And that's when you're spread thin.
Yeah.
And I called. He's like, no, Peter, you're good. You're good for those.
You're going to love it.
Yeah.
It's such a fun event.
Awesome.
It really is. It's in Sebastian, Grant Walk area, like at the Old Fish House. And so much good is being done like that whole week. Like, yes, we're all going to fish and it's going to be great. And, there's going to be a whole group of our friends there and it's going to be a great event. But environmentally speaking, the mangroves that are being planted, the clams that are being dumped in the water, it's just a well-rounded kind of event. So laid back. The attitude of everybody there is just so cool. Like,
awesome.
it's just a lot of fun.
I'm really looking forward to it. I've been watching it. I've been seeing a lot of it. They're doing a great job. You guys are doing a great job with it. And, you know, to be able to go there, I didn't even know where we could fish. I mean, I don't even think about it. I'm just thinking, you know, what you're talking about. So the fishing part is like a bonus if I want, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a whole, you know, Bouncer's going to be there. We're going to be honoring Bouncer. And doing a lot of good things with it. Yeah, he is really, you know.
Yeah.
You know, how cool is that though? Like, really, like, from my perspective, like, just, all right, so I can say this, right? Not only just Bouncer, but so many, like, even you, like all these people that I've, like, looked up to, like, all these years and everything like that, like, they're now, like, all my friends. And, like, to me, that's the coolest part about what I do. Like, I quit my day job, 13, 14 years ago to, like, be full-time, you know, because I was doing it before as a second job, like, when I was the art director in the music business. But, you know, and I come over and I'm just like, and now, like, all these great, amazing people are, like, all friends and confidants and stuff like that. And to me, that's been the coolest part. It's like, yeah, the art and the business of it, that's all, you know, and being successful, it's cool, you know what I mean? But to me, the camaraderie, and that's really the Connected by Water. That's, like, another meaning behind it. You know,
and talking to you about this, like, brings something to me that I don't even think of, because when I think of Bouncer and I think of Dudas and I think of all these different guys, I kind of, in a way, like, grew up, like, in that, like, fold, in that era. I mean, Bouncer's a little bit older than me and Dudas is a little bit, but I mean, I look at them like I've known them and they're just one of my buddies, you know, and we call them. I call Bouncer, hey, Bouncer, I'm in the cut. You know, he's like, oh, Peter, you got to get down with a jig, like at least 20 feet right off that edge up there, you know. Never wouldn't pick up the phone, never, always gave information. And, like, every one of the guys would always share. But, you know, some captains are really tight with what they share and they don't share. And I run into that a lot. So when I go to Cape Cod and, you know, you're with a certain captain, he's like, oh, no, I don't talk to him. So I'm like, hey, how's it going, man? I'm up here. He's like, oh, great. Is that you over there? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what are you doing? Oh, we got a bite on a bluefish a minute ago. You know, and it's like, it's fun how you can kind of break in there, because I'm not too shy to call somebody.
Right.
Because I expect to get the call myself from somebody when I'm out there getting, you know, quads, and, you know, when I'm fishing and the boat next to me is not getting any. What are you using? Oh, we got sardines on the patch reef. You maybe want to go in and get some. That's all they're eating. You know, and, like, little things like that. But we've had moments with Dudas coming up on us, 5 minutes left in the tournament, free jumpers coming at us. We're lined up with him, and he's racing by going 40 knots. And he sees us, and I see him going by. I'm like, oh, thank God, you know, he's going by. And he just hangs a hard right.
Hits the brakes.
And he hits the brakes and comes right up to us and casts 4 baits on our hull. And he's got 3 on, and we've got 3 on. And now we're all tied, and they're all getting tangled. Then the Miss Brit comes up. So now it's 3 of us, the Get Lit, the Miss Brit, and the Wound Up.
Oh, man.
And fish are jumping everywhere. The guy's like, that's my fish. I'm like, that's my fish. It's under your boat. Stop reeling. I mean, it was insanity. And at the end, Dudas comes up. He goes, hey, Peter, I had to make something happen, you know, for the boss. I understand. I get it. And that's the way it was. It was like,
right.
You know, it was jungle rules out there. You know, you park north of me, Gary Lawson from a good guy, fished with Joe Niebuhr a lot on the Contenders.
Right.
And I'll never forget, we got down on the Green Door, down in the Keys, down off, like, Ocean Reef area. And, you know, the fish funnel through that area first thing in the morning. And if you get on them, you're going to get them. And you usually have to have ballyhoo. And he was already there because he was in a Contender. And he had flown down there, and we were in the sport fish. And we set up just north of him, you know, because it was like lines in. Everybody wants to win. It was the first day. And he gets on the radio. He goes, really? Really? You're going to do that? And it was either Quentin or Ray. It's like, hey, man, sorry. And then Gary says on the radio, he goes, it's going to be a long day, Daddy.
Wow.
So we say that all the time. I go, it's going to be a long day, Daddy.
Oh, man.
I mean, this was like 30 years. This is like 25 years ago.
I remember one time we were in a tournament, and I was fishing on a different boat, and Art's kind of near us, and everyone's like, oh, there's the native sun, there's the native sun. So everyone on the boat's thinking we're in the right area, yeah. And then probably about a couple hours into it, you see Art just pick up and start moving. The whole boat literally went,
oh, man.
No, we're not in the right area.
Art doesn't like it. We got to go. I know that's really a thing.
Yeah.
Well, a quick story on that. I fished the Miami Billfish tournament in my boat, single outboard engine, 110 boats. Everyone punches it at the shotgun start, and they're heading offshore. So the wake is like 10-footer, 8-footers in the cut.
Right.
And I spin the hub on my boat. So now I'm like free floating, just getting rocked.
Oh, no.
In my 25-footer, just Kit and I.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, my God. And then I throw it in reverse, and I'm like, wait, I got reverse. So I was able to reverse out of the cut, went around to the other side. Like, I think I got towed in back to like Dinner Key, got put up on the lift. This guy changed the prop for me because I was young. I didn't even have the tools. Changed the prop for me. We sped back out by 12:30.
Come on.
And I want to go to this one spot, the Monument Booty in Miami, Yellow Can. And my buddy, Sergio, he was on a boat called Sergio Viega. He's a doctor, called a Sand Skipper on a little Mako. And he leaves, and I go, hey, Sergio, how was it? He goes, man, we never got a bite. We've been here all day. And I was like, well, we don't have much time left. We got to put him out. We go there. He drives off. I mean, he couldn't be more than 2,000 feet away. And we have a triple header on, and we win the amateur division. Yeah, I'm telling you, like some of these crazy stories. But, man, it's funny when someone leaves a spot, you think you got to leave, but not always.
Right. That's not always the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no real way to do it. All right, so listen, I'm gonna read this like for real. Like you see what I have up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to read that for real because I think that we mentioned it and we got excited about it, but we didn't technically tell everyone.
Yeah.
And Derek's going to be like, dude, you didn't say it was Starbright and all that. So
yeah.
This is for Derek, right?
Okay.
So, all right, this is to save the date. So, Project Sea Safe, this is the 5th annual Clean Water Collective, right? And it is going to be April 23rd through 26th at the Old Fish House in Grant, Bulgaria, and Sebastian area. There's going to be clam releases, mangrove restoration, serious cleanups, and real community impact. And I got to tell you, it's not just us that will be there, like our Starbright family. There's people from, all over come in for this and can be a part of it. We want everyone to feel welcome to come, share in the festivities, and interact with all the celebrities, fishermen, and guys that are going to be there. And it's a really great event. And it's a really good event in a really good way for if you're looking to get into conservation or if you're looking to feel good about making an impact, come to this event because this is a group. I mean, Starbright in itself, the Starbright family is a group. And even like all the stuff with Corey Redwine and Dr. Todd Osborne and stuff, this is a group that really is, I call it boots in the water. People that are actually getting their hands wet and dirty and doing the real work. They're not just raising awareness. They're not just talking about it. They're actually doing it. So if you're looking for an organization or a people or a group to get involved with, please come. That is April 23rd to 26th at Grant, Bulgaria, Sebastian, Florida, the Old Fish House, Project Sea Safe 5th Annual Clean Water Collective. So
excited. I'm excited to be going, and I'm looking forward to meeting everybody and learning about it and helping and just being a part of it. What a great program. Great, the Starbright brand has been phenomenal. I can't say enough good things to you and the red wines. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So excited for that.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for coming in, sharing your time with me, and really thank you for dealing with that Fort Lauderdale traffic to get here. So yeah, I feel so bad when you texted and you said that. I was like, oh no.
No, I was excited to finally get here. We tried to do this for a while, and then we finally did it. And of course, I was working on my boat, and I was upside down. Once you get in a bilge, you don't leave the bilge until you fix what you're working on.
Yeah, right.
And every tool you can fit your flashlight on your cell phone, and you got you're pulling yourself out. Pull my ankles. I got to get out of this stuff. But so here we are. We did it finally. So thank you for having me. This is really.
I want to do it with you again.
Yeah.
I mean, I got lots of ideas, lots of cool things we can do. But the next one I want to do with you is on location at that event.
Perfect.
Is that cool?
Yeah. Perfect.
And we'll do one there. And we did that last year where I had a whole bunch of people come in and we'll do like rapid fire ones and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's really cool. But I have some ideas I'll share with you later.
Okay.
That I think we can do together.
Perfect.
Well, I don't want to tell everyone how they could reach you and follow you and all that, 'cause I think maybe people know, but maybe
it's Uncharted. Yeah, I mean, I use Peter Miller Fishing because I know that the Peter Miller's never going anywhere.
Yeah.
And maybe Bass to Billfish takes a little break. Maybe Uncharted Waters takes a break, but I'm doing Sport Fishing Championship and the Redfish Cup and the Bassmaster Classic, Bassmaster Elite. But
you don't stop.
I'm excited to do it.
Really,
it's a dream. It's a dream. It's a dream come true. And sitting there, with Zona at the Bassmaster Classic, Tommy Sanders, and he and I are pals now. We go out to dinner and we're talking.
I didn't even scratch the surface with you today, like everything that you're I don't even think we necessarily needed to hash through it all, but like you got your hands in so much.
And I love it. I love every minute of it. I jump on a plane and I don't sleep, and I don't even know where I'm going. I walk in I'm in a hotel room. I don't know where the bathroom is. I'm banging off the walls trying to get there. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm in Dallas. Okay. Now I know where the bathroom is. And I got my hands out in front of me like this. But yeah, so Peter Miller Fishing, my Instagram, I think is a really good one. And of course, I have Uncharted Waters TV.com. That's my website.
Yeah.
And then I have my YouTube, and the shows are up there. But, I'm airing on Discovery, Discovery Plus, Discovery Go. So there's a lot of ways to watch it. Waypoint, it's on Amazon, and streaming on like 25, 30 platforms easily. So, linear. And then, of course, we've got our streaming. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's Peter Miller World.
It's
really, that's awesome. It totally is. You're the man, dude.
Oh, come on.
Listen.
Come on.
Yeah.
Stop.
You are amazing. So good looking. No. Thanks, Peter. Listen, thank you for giving me your time today. And, let's do it again, please.
I'd love to.
Please.
Thank
All right. Thank you to our sponsor, Starbright. Thank you to our sponsors, Olokai. Thank you to our sponsor, Seaward Systems. And our brand new sponsor, Yak Gear. Happy to have you aboard. We're going to end this like we always do, right? Right. Your ego, it's not your amigo. Always do your best, and at the end of the day, just let God do the rest. Do not ever forget that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're all connected by water. Thank you, Peter Miller.
Thank you.